Right, so we have done many Rushmores, and each week we close it with the best of the best of the best. Well, this time it is the best of the best of the best clashing off because it is the top 10 films rated 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And that's 100% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, because yes, that's really trigger people wrongly here. The critic's opinion matters more than the audience. All that right now on Movie Mount Rushmore.
Screeners, how you doing? It's me, the one AJ, Anthony Jordan.
We are back once again. It is me too, Nico Luro, here to talk some movies.
Indeed we are. It's a big one, guys. Look, as we said, it's critic reviews, and also depending on the time that you watch the show, we have to stress at the time of recording, these films have a critics rating of 100%. There are many films that were going to make the list that have now since dropped. So depending on when you see this in your lifetime, it may change.
Yep, all things subject to change. Toy Story 3 was in there for the longest time. It's out.
There we are.
It's not in there anymore. Let's do it.
So, let's do this. But before we do it, would you like to tell everyone what the Movie Mount Rushmore is all about?
Yes, basically it's a weekly top 10 show where we discuss movies and our differing opinions between two best friends from school. We go away, we make our separate top 10 lists, and we come right back here and deliver to you, the Silver Screen Dudes, our film family, our individual top 10s. This week, AJ will go first, delivering his bottom three. I will then deliver my bottom three. AJ will deliver his next two. I will deliver my next two. And then when we get to our top 5 positions, we will trade one apiece. If at any time while we are rounding off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in a higher position, the person will say,
Punt.
And we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the higher position. Once we have both rounded off our individual top 10 movies, we will create, in the voice of Chandler Bing, the movie Mount Rushmore. These are the 4 quintessential diverse must-see movies of the genre, which this week is
Top 10 films with 100% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Or tomatoes, depending on where you are in the world.
Tomato, potato.
There we go. Now, guys, that's the interesting part. We, the Silver Screen Dudes, have the challenge of creating the top 4 must-see movies, but it gets even more difficult for you, the screeners, because once we've created that for top 4, it's over to you to crown El Capitan, El Numero Uno, the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. And in the words of Highlander, in the end, there can be only one. And how do you crown the one? Well, that's pretty interesting. You head on over to @MovieMT_Rushmore. But more importantly, the person we retweet, JT. JT from where? JT from @MoviePulse4You. We love movies. We retweet him, so there's only one vote, and that's where you get to crown the one. Now, how do you have the one? Not the one, AJ, the one movie. Well, last week our topic was
the top 10 sci-fi movies of the 21st century.
And our contenders were
Donnie Darko, Dune, Ex Machina, and
Dune,
WALL-E.
Ex Machina, and WALL-E. Oh, this is interesting. Now,
this was close. There is only 7% separating all 4 movies.
Okay. Now, I felt like crap by forgetting this, but I'm gonna play the game because it's the only one that has cult status. But it's gonna kill me to do this. Number 4, Donnie Darko.
Correct. 22%.
Okay, I was hoping I was wrong, but hey, I'm happy I'm right. Okay. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I know, right?
A movie of the 21st century. This is kind of odd.
5% separates these 3.
I'm going to go for the one that I was least familiar with in my personal view before. Ex Machina at number 3.
Well done. Ex Machina, 24%.
Now it's a true case of let them fight. Let them fight. Oh, I love both of these movies. The only thing in my head that holds this back is that 1, people may prefer the original Dune, and 2, then didn't like it. So I'm going to go with Dune at number 2.
Well done, AJ. Clean sweep.
Oh, that was close though. I nearly went the other way.
June at number 2 with 25%. Wally at winning it with 29%.
You know, I'm very happy. Again, not wanting to drag this on too much, but I remember saying that Wally was very, very, very nearly my number 1. Just because of the social implications that it does. Nothing mirrors life more than Wally. And well done, Wally.
Every third day throughout the year, Wally will be my favorite Pixar movie. Every second day it will be Toy Story 3, and every first day it'll probably be Inside Out. Those 3 constantly switch depending on how I feel on the day.
I hear you. Right. Shall we start?
Let's go.
You're right, this 10. One. Not only did I enjoy it because it reminded me of another film that I've really enjoyed along the way, and I found out this was the original to it. I'm just a vain. See you next Tuesday. Yeah. Come again?
Barbie has 100%. I'm just Ken. Anywhere else, I'd be a 10.
Very, very well played. No, this one, believe it or not, in at number 10. Here comes Mr. Jordan. I couldn't help it.
You only watched this because of the title.
Of course I did. I was hoping it was going to be mega awesome and it'll be number 1. I was like, there's no way. There's a film that says Mr. Jordan and I am not watching this. I will go through hell and high water to find this film. So essentially, I don't know if you've seen a film called Heaven Can Wait.
No.
Or Down to Earth.
I've heard of Down to Earth. I haven't
Down
seen
to Earth is something that's made the list before for me. It's a Chris Rock movie. And essentially, this was the original one. I think there's a screenplay called Heaven Can Wait. But Here Comes Mr. Jordan came first. Then they made 2 Heaven Can Waits, one with Rowan Beatty. And then we've got 2 Down to Earth. So it's really interesting. So this is the story of... Bear me a second. I'm going to have to get the actor's name just because it's released in 1942. And I can't say it with you. Robert Montgomery. He plays this boxer who's literally up for he's in prime shape. He's about to go for a title match, but before that, he's going on a plane and he loves these. There's an instrument he plays. I want to say trombone, but I feel like I'm wrong in saying that. But while he's there, and you see him with his instrument about to play, he's in the plane. Next minute, he's off the plane and he's just walking on clouds, and you're like, what's going on here? And essentially, long story short, he has been, he's now about to enter the gates of heaven, but he doesn't realize that he's dead. So while talking, he's now speaking like, what's this? What's going on? And they're like, I haven't got all day. And they're like, well, you do. You're dead. And it's like, why am I dead? What happened?
Why am I dead?
Yeah. And what's happened is the angel who was meant to, as a fresh start, angel of death, essentially, who takes people when they're dying, wanted to save this guy from the pain of his crash and realizes whatever his name was, he got the name slightly wrong. So indeed, he has taken the wrong person too soon. So they're like, right, okay, bring me back to my body. They bring him back to the plane and they can't find the body. By the way, so Mr. Jordan is coincidentally the chief archangel who sends this new apprentice to go and find this gentleman to find Robert Montgomery's body, and they go looking for the body. They can't find the body.
My chief now?
Acknowledge me. So through all of this, they go on, and we then realize that they can't return him to his body. Why? Because his manager, who found the body, has cremated him. So now he's cremated. So he's now they owe him, but they
can sound great.
Come again?
This actually sounds great.
It's good. I mean, Down to Earth was Chris Rock's character accidentally gets knocked down by a bus, and the same sort of thing happens. Like, they have to put him into somebody else's body because that person's been declared dead. This one, they're like, okay, the only thing we can do is put you into the body of someone else who's about to die, and obviously that will save it. So they've now found this person who's been pretty much, someone's tried to kill him. So they're like, we found a body for you. He's in prime shape. With a bit of work and all the training that you're familiar with, you could become that boxing champion. He's like, all right, I'll do it. So, but why is he about to die? And then you find out people have tried to kill him because he wasn't the nicest man. He's like, all right, we'll do it. And he's about to do it. And he's going on that journey and then enter the lady that changes his life. And he's like, very interested in her. So now he's living the life of the gentleman that he was going to, take over, but correcting all the wrongdoings that this guy's done. It was a really sweet movie. Now, because I've seen Down to Earth, I knew the beats. I knew exactly what was coming and where, kind of thing. Very different, but I knew what was coming. But yeah, it was nice to see the original to this whole section, to be honest.
Well, you've summed that up well. Nothing to add from me. What I want to see this movie, though.
Check it out. Check it out.
What's your number 9?
Right, in at number 9, I'm guessing this is going to be a punt because it just feels wrong, but it's because I haven't had the time to rewatch it, even though I promised I would have for this. It's everyone's favorite cyborg, the Terminator.
No, Punt, come on.
I had a feeling. Oh, sorry, I pressed that too soon.
No,
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Punt, come on. Get to there.
Chopper! If you know, you know. We're not disclosing nothing. That's a personal silver screen joke. We'll leave it there. Okay. Right. In at number 8 is a very, very coincidental last entry. The other day, we're closing up at work, and someone asked us, where can I find the Kling film? And my boss looks at me and goes, you probably know about this. And this is what he says. And I was like, you what, Paul? Bad Boy Bubby. Have you heard of it?
What the hell is this?
So he says to me, if you watch this film, you'll know all about Kling film. Now, I'm not going to... It's a spoiler, and it's kind of weird. So this is an Australian movie. It's an Australian-Italian collaboration, but it's definitely an Australian movie, right? And it's one of the... And I swear to you when I say this now, this film could have been higher if it wasn't for all the greatness that comes later on, right? The first 20 minutes of this film is one of the most disturbing bits of footage I have ever seen. And I was like,
Martyr level.
What is this? No. Here we go. This young gentleman, whose picture I'm going to bring up one more time. This young gentleman here is the title character, Bubby. Now, picture Room. You know the story of Room. Young boy locked in the room with his mum, held by old Nick or what have you. This one is a lot worse because Bubby is 35 years old and has only been brought up by his mother. Never, ever seen the outside world. And his mother, like the film opens up with her washing him down completely butt naked. He's 35 years old. And with that, a mental condition has come out that he's very much childlike. We're not sure if there is a condition or if it's just that he's not been brought up right. She has led him to believe that leaving the room that he lives in this little apartment or whatever it is, which is under a factory from what I can tell, will kill him because it's toxic. It's the toxic air out there. And she wears this gas mask and she'll go out. And she literally, here are the things that you see. She tells him, do not move from the chair he's in, because God is watching everything and he'll be punished. And you literally see this guy sitting at a table, eating, and he is literally messing himself. You can literally see the urine and crap, underneath his chair. And I was like, what is this? We then also see that his mother sexually abuses him. Like she is literally having sex with him and he's all caressing her tits and stuff like that. And you're like, what is going on? I was like, what is this film? This is disgusting. It then develops. After 35 years, his dad now comes back. And what you realize is his speech is very limited based on the words that he says. So his mom will call him the C word. And that's what, are you lazy? C-U-N-T. And that's all he knows. So he'll just echo these words and what have you. But these words that he's used become his form of speech and interaction to people. So, his dad's literally like, I'm Pop. And he's like, Bubby Pop. Like, that's the way he talks. It's literally that basic. And, his dad would be like, Christ, you're a weirdo, kid. Bear in mind, what I'm telling you now will develop later on. Bubby then takes it on for himself to get rid of his parents and now steps out to the wide world. And he now uses these basic terminologies to interact with people, but they work just in time. So when someone goes, you're acting a bit weird, you're a weirdo, kid. And it just, each time he learns a new sentence, it just about works into his echelons of working with people. You can tell he's not right, but it builds. This is one of the most awkward films you will see, but honestly, it's got this magic greatness to it. And there's this really touching part of the story where he actually meets people who are severely disabled. I'm talking like, atrophy, they can't speak and what have you, but he has found a way to understand them. And through that, because he starts learning how to meet different people, you see that he learns to care for stuff. Like there's a cat that he comes across. And at first he goes just as harsh as his mother was to him. And he stops mid-sentence. And you can now see the care inside him. And he starts using speech from other people's thing along the way. Weird film, but absolutely brilliant in itself. I swear to you, I've probably not defined it as best as I could. But it's this guy who has got very basic knowledge of being locked away and enters the wide world and gradually learns a way to survive along the way. It's very interesting.
I mean, look, I'm intrigued, but I'm also tremendously apprehensive about it.
I felt that when I first saw the beginning. I felt that when I saw the beginning. Like, don't get me wrong, it's also like a dark comedy. So there are certain parts where, like, there, you know, he learned when he first steps out into the wide world. This car steps out. He's like, "Get out of the effing road, you stupid!" Oh, sorry, that wasn't that slipped out, and that was me trying to be polite. So this lady's like driving him down the road, and he sees a policeman doing traffic control, and that's exactly how he responds to the guy: "Get out of the road, you stupid!" What have you. The policeman takes him, punches him in the gut or what have you, and like, I don't like smart asses, so that's that. Later on, he meets this rock band who are like, "Babby, go outside and try and find us some money." This guy is cashing up at the closing of a till, and the guy's like, "You're not meant to be here." He literally holds up the cashier, punches him in the gut. "I don't like smart twats," and walks off with the money. So it's literally like he learns the special gifts around it.
Like a kind of scene by scene, moment by moment, great leveling up.
Literally leveling up, but at the same time, he is still very. He's not in tune with the world, and it works somehow along the way. It's so weird, but
okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the whole
it's a cult movie
incest thing.
Bro, the beginning, I was like, this is I was like, what am I watching? Why did this name even get mentioned? And it wasn't that he knew. He was like, he knows I'm into film. I was like, okay, I'll take a note of it and watch the film. When I saw it was 100%, I was like, I'm going to go on a deep dive to find this. And coincidentally...
AJ Vision?
Yeah.
Deep.
Unless you want to play $7.99 on Amazon, which...
How much?
I believe $7.99. Maybe I'm wrong. That might have been another film. That might have been Terminator, actually, which I was going to watch if it was available online. I was like, I'm not doing that. Let me have a look again. But yeah, it was viewed on AJ Vision for me, but it's out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my number 8. Over to you.
All right, my number 10. People are going to be screaming that this is way too low. I love this film, but I also think it's overrated. Now, people are thinking, how does that make sense? Listen to the words. Overrated doesn't mean bad. I love the film. Paul Newman in Cool Hand Luke.
Do you know what? When I saw it was on the list, I was like, damn, I've heard so much about this film.
Great. It's fantastic. Look, it's great. It's fantastic. It's one of the all-time great prison movies, but it never slaps hard the way that prison movies normally do. So it might have been the fact that I was setting myself up for disappointment in that sense. Tonally, it's got that kind of almost Western pace, the way The Great Escape does. Prior to the robbery, it's purposefully quite slow. It's very much just, Paul Newman plays a petty criminal and he gets sentenced to a measly 2 years in a not the hardest prison in the world. And it's just you following him on his day-to-day trials and tribulations and him being, a bit of a douchebag, a bit of a rebel without a cause, a bit of an anti-establishment type guy, and how he wins people over to his side and how his defiance actually inspires those around him. It's a powerhouse performance from Paul Newman, but that's like saying water is wet. Newman's just fantastic in this. It's definitely worth a watch, but the way people revere it as greatest prison movie ever, I'm like, yeah, behave. Like, come on. But it's very good. It's
cool.
Very
no. I've always had a lot of good stuff. Never anything bad about it. So yeah, it's definitely on my list.
My number 9. Now this is a cast: Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart. A Philadelphia Story.
Another one that's on my list of great stuff that I need to check.
So good, bro. So good. The dynamic between these three it's something for the ages. Like my grandmother, bless her, actually, what she thought was trying to hard sell me into watching it. And she was like, I really want to show you this movie, this old movie I really love called The Philadelphia Story. I'm like, who's in it? And she went, Grant, Hepburn, and Stewart. I went, sold. Say no more. And she kept on telling me, no, you need to watch it. I'm like, I'm there. Just tell me when. Like, I'm there. It's so charming. So Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, it opens with them essentially going through a very believable but also quite farcical divorce, right? You open at their breakup. Then she starts seeing this other guy called Catteridge, and then James Stewart, who plays a journalist who's trying to do a kind of snoop piece on her, kind of gets enamored by her too. And you end up in a position where Katharine Hepburn has to choose between Catteridge, Cary Grant, and James Stewart. Who does she really love? It's a pleasant, tongue-in-cheek, satirical, easy to watch romantic comedy. It's like one of the old school OG romantic comedies. You know, people say romantic comedies are bad. Show them this and they'll change their mind.
Nice. I'm down. It's on my list. It is on my list of stuff to see.
Really good.
Philadelphia Story.
In my number 8, I'm gonna bring Errol Flynn to the party, and it was a toss up between this. And I'm still hesitating. But for the sake of popularity, I'm going to go with this. So I'm not going with Captain Blood, which also had 100%.
Oh, that I missed. I did
Captain Blood had 100%, and that is one of maybe the all-time great pirate movie. But I'm going to go with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland in Robin Hood. The Adventures of Robin Hood.
This is my spiritual number 11, if I'm honest with you.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so good. Now, you worry when you look at the old school poster and you think, oh, this is going to be almost kind of stage pantomime. You know, Robin Hood, it's like the way Robin Hood Men in Tights knew that it was a comedy. This looks like Men in Tights without being self-aware enough to know it's a comedy. And then you're like, oh, no, it's a full-on swashbuckling adventure. And it's so influential. Like so many of the shots in it, like that huge shadow that Robin and the sheriff cast in their final sword battle. I'm looking at that. I'm going, well, Bruce Timm watched this when he was thinking of Batman, wasn't he? Like, Jesus. It top to bottom. It's great. The chemistry between de Havilland and Errol Flynn it's legendary. It's the greatest Robin Hood we've ever had. Errol Flynn. It's wonderful. This movie.
It's like he was built for the character.
Really. It's like you just think of that, non-animated. If you had a vision of, I imagine Robin Hood would look a certain way. Yeah, Errol Flynn.
Everything. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's exactly that. Yeah, I remember watching it when we were doing swashbuckler movies a couple of years back, and it was just better than I thought. I just remember the whole way. It just works. It just worked, and I was like, this is really good. Really good. And when I found out it was 100%, I was like, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
But it's got its big set pieces. The set design is beautiful. The color, obviously, because it's Technicolor being used for one of the first times. So gorgeous and deep color. The performances are great. The pacing of the film is great. Like, it is the quintessential Robin Hood movie. All Robin Hood copies this. It is 100%. It's perfection.
Yeah, there's no arguing.
How the hell Jaws doesn't have 100% is beyond me. But anyway,
I actually don't know Jaws' rating. Funny enough, compared to most stuff, there's a lot of films I've checked and I know where it's at. That one I don't know the landing mark of it. She's got
97.
Yeah, that means it probably was 100% for the longest while, and someone's come along and just written something. The shark is not visible enough. Negative. And there you are, 3% out.
How has Speed got 95% on Rotten Tomatoes? I despair sometimes.
I mean,
it is great. But anyway,
It is great. It is great.
So that was my 8. Your 7.
My number 7. So a lot of this now I can see being punt territory, and I know how special this film is to you. And do you know, I swear to you on everything, I didn't want it to be 7 because of the number of the film, but here we go. My number 7 is Seven Samurai.
Oh, stop it! Punt.
Right, I know. I knew it was a punt. Okay. In at number 6. I know this is also punt territory for you, but it's just the way it landed to me on my AJ meter. Singing in the Rain.
What? No, punt for days.
I knew it.
What the hell?
It's just where they land, bro. None of these are bad, okay? It's just the way they landed in my echelon of preference.
What the hell, AJ?
It's just the preference.
How? What? You found 6 movies? Okay, one I know you'll have better than Singing in the Rain, and I understand that. You found 5 other movies that are better than Singing in the Rain?
Yeah. So there's 2. Yeah, look, we'll get into it, and it is where it is. So.
What's the F? Like, seriously, what the hell? No, you're hurting me here.
5 and 4 is going to pee you right off, but it is where it is. So that's just live with it, and we'll accept it, and we'll move on.
Dude, all right, I'm going quite heavy into the realm of animation now. One of Disney's unsung heroes, Pinocchio.
So this is number 12. This was my number 12. Honestly, it may even have been.
The only Disney movie Disney animation to make it on. Like, how crazy is that?
Do you know, it's weird because I when it did come up and I realized it was that, I was like, let me check the others, like my trifecta, as it were, and they're all at 98 and 95, but they're not 100. They're not 100.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You'd think they would have put Fantasia on there, or maybe the original Snow White, because of, well, maybe not now, but thanks, Rachel. Yeah, I said it. Have you seen it? Do you know that YouTuber? I think he's just called Nigerian Critic.
I'm not familiar with him.
Oh, he's so funny. He rips Rachel's egg. I cannot wait for this entitled woman to play Snow White and crash and burn harder than Mufasa. I mean, he goes in so hard on her. And I'm like, you're being harsh, but you're very funny. Yeah, Pinocchio, the only Disney animated movie to be at 100%. Who knew?
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, where's that? No, it's not there. It's crazy.
98, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy.
Well, 95. I think Aladdin's 98. It's weird.
As of the 12th of September, 2023, Pinocchio is the only Disney animated movie to be at 100%.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, I get it. Like, it's when you actually think about Pinocchio, the classic fairy tale. Yes, Disney did a masterful job of bringing that fairy tale to life. What I think the movie never gets enough credit for is how well it is paced. Like, think about a lot of stuff happens in Pinocchio, but it never feels rushed, but it also never feels like we're breezing. It also never feels like we're stuck, It does all the establishing really well. It's like it takes its time at the beginning, but it's engaging, Here's Geppetto. He wishes upon a star. Here's his puppet that comes alive. Once the puppet's alive, we need to give the puppet the conscience in the form of Jiminy Cricket. We need to give the puppet a fairy godmother. Cool. Established. Fade to black. Send him to school. He immediately starts getting into trouble with Honest John. He immediately then gets kidnapped by is it Saltimbanco? Is that his name? Saltimbanco? It might be. I think his name, no, Stromboli, not Saltimbanco. Yeah, he gets captured by Stromboli, the nomadic traveler, as I believe we now have to use as a term. Escapes on his way back, runs into Honest John again, gets kidnapped again, goes to Pleasure Island, turns into a donkey. Geppetto goes after him, gets swallowed by a whale, and then Pinocchio goes on this undersea journey to go and save Geppetto and gets chased by a giant sperm whale called Monstro and then becomes a real boy. That's a lot of movie.
Yeah.
And they get it into like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it feels balanced. It's like, yeah, well done. Also, the hand-drawn animation is just freaking spectacular.
Listen, there's something about hand-drawn animation that just has the love that it has. I can't hate on it.
Like every single frame in that movie just has life in its lungs. You know what I mean? I mean, it has lungs. It just feels alive. It's beautiful.
Yeah. No, it is. It's, it goes back to that episode we done just the other day with Seamus, and it was like, well, Disney villains, and then the traditional top 10 Disney that we done. You can love what computer animation has done, but that hand drawn, there's something that just warms me when I see it, and I'm forever be in love with it. That's just the truth of it.
It's so warming. So let's go from hand drawn animation to computer animation, and so the same way that I said Cool Hand Luke is great but overrated, this is great, and despite the fact that it's got 100%, so it's clearly loved by everyone, I'm actually going to say it's underrated. And I'm going to bring in Toy Story 2.
And that's your number
6.
So I'm not going to lie, it's my number 5.
So let's talk.
It's my number 5. Yeah, we're going to talk. I've held back because 4 and 5, as I said, are there. And I've for the twisted of it, I've been twisting with myself of, do I twist 4 and 5 around? And I think exactly what you said is that there are other films, and like Toy Story 3 is the perfect ending. When you bookend a story, even if it's a Toy Story, the middle is always going to get forgotten because you've got a great start and you've got a great finish. But the middle is actually really, really good. And this is what's really good with me of making it
stick.
Yeah. Like here's the thing. You've created this jealousy story that is what it was, and then somehow you're meant to have another adventure. And how do you make it happen? Toy Story 2 delivers on that. You enter new characters. You delve into Woody's past. You show the people that are meant to be his family, not the family that he's got. He delves deeper. The kidnapping, the elements of the way they're trying to twist him to rebuild the Roundup gang. Like all of these elements are in there. And the more I think about it, the more I'm still thinking, maybe this should be my number 4. But
here's the thing. The other thing that the movie never gets credit for is what is it that Woody goes on and on and on about in Toy Story 1? His constant conflict with Buzz. Buzz Lightyear believes he's a real space ranger. And there's that famous scene when they're under the Pizza Planet truck where Woody literally goes, "You are a toy!" Right?
Yeah.
That comes back to haunt him in this movie because Woody's always been self-aware and knows what he is physically. But metaphorically and spiritually, that comes to haunt him in this movie because his very existence of being a toy makes him have to face a reality. It's like, so do I want to be, as he says in the first movie, you are a child's plaything? Is that what you want to be? Or do you want to be a valued collector's item?
Yeah.
So he has to really come to a crossroad in his life, and that line that's been leading to this crossroad has been his existence so far. Woody's never been a character who's been torn. He was so sure of his convictions in the first film. He knows what his place is in life. He belongs to Andy. He's a plaything. That's his purpose in life. But staying in that realm of, yes, you are a toy, but did you know there's this other route you can take? And being in that other route makes you valuable to other people. And it makes you valuable to people who are like you, who are quote unquote your tribe, who are your gang, your Roundup gang. These are, of all the toys, these are the most you toys there are.
Yeah.
So, and you not making the decision to be with your own people is actually going to damage them in the long run because they're incomplete without you.
Yeah, it's and you are the main element. It's not the prospectors missing. Even
Yeah.
if you look at collectibles, like 4 out of 5 could possibly work if you have Woody. It doesn't work without Woody, and it's that key
Doesn't work
element. That key element to it. There is the realization of Buzz when he comes across another edition of himself, who is exactly who he was in Toy Story 1. There are so many elements in Toy Story 2 that just makes it
Think
great.
also about where Andy is in his life at this point. You know, in the first movie, we already see Andy growing out of being in love with Woody and moving on to Buzz, right? And by the third movie, we know how that ends. He full out gets rid of his toys, and it's one of the most heartbreaking things ever. But they're already planting the seeds for that in this, having built from it on the second. It's like Andy doesn't love you as much as he loves Buzz. And they're already planting the seeds of, yeah, Andy's kind of growing up now. So do you want to be with this kid who you're just going to probably be thrown away in a car boot cell, which is how you ended up here? Or do you want to find new purpose in your life?
Yeah.
Like, this got surprising depth to it. And then you talk about the wonderful When She Loved Me scene with Jesse. And it's like, I'm sorry, try to not shed a tear in that. That is every bit as heartbreaking as Andy giving up his toys at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's brutal. The abandonment issues that Jesse has, it's brutal. It's an unsung hero, Toy Story 2. Like, no one says it's bad. Obviously, it's got 100%. But it always gets overlooked. And like, Toy Story 1, it started it all. Toy Story 3, it's the perfect animation movie. Where's the love for Toy Story 2?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. That is it. I thought this was my biggest challenge when it came to ranking. It was my biggest challenge because that was my number 5. And my number 4 is exactly what you've been talking about. Toy Story 1. And my thing was
my number 5 now, but fine.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, because it was my number 5. My apologies. Yeah. Okay.
Fine,
yeah.
But you just brought it up. We've just brought it up when we're on the topic. So carry on.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's true. It feels weird. We've literally just covered everything that is Toy Story. And when it came to it, I was just like, my ultimate decider was the adventure started here, and that's what I was. It's like, it's a continuation. Had it been there was a part of me that nearly made it a duology, but I was like, I'm not going to play that game because it is one continuous story. And as you talk about, it's that evolution of Andy along the way. But Toy Story was something for groundbreaking in the visuals from, the hand-drawn animation that we just talked about and we loved. This was something so fresh. I remember seeing it. I still don't understand how I got to see it in school, but I saw it in school when we weren't meant to have seen that in school. I honestly don't know. It was in the cinema and I saw it and we're like, okay, we have Toy Story. And it was like, this is all kinds of awesome. It was just seeing animation in a new way. Then I say it again, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. This generation does not appreciate what it means to play with toys the way we do.
Of course not.
And that
they don't have toys anymore. Toys to this generation are now collectibles.
Yeah.
They're Toy Story 2.
Yeah. Like I've had the pleasure of buying a Moana doll for my niece and Fireman Sam stuff for my nephew, but it just doesn't feel the same because the kids run to different appeals now. But that fantasy that we would be enter Rocket Raccoon, but that fantasy we had of playing with toys, the storylines. If you ever went to a kid and wrote a script based on what you saw a kid doing with their toys, you have your own Toy Story there, because there was an adventure every one of us built in our own bedroom, and that storyline continued each time you picked up your toys over and over again. And that's the magic that Toy Story 1 showed me. And then it's the idea that they come to life. It's the idea that what happens if they're lost, what it means to you to lose your favorite toys. Now, yeah, if you've listened to the old episodes, you know what the silver screen dudes feel like by losing their toys when we were too old to worry about losing our toys, but it still meant something to us. What happened if you lost it in your prime of using these toys? That pain and that adventure. And this is all because of a stubborn toy that did not realize he was a toy, and it leads into something else. It's a very great story, and it mixed that with the fact that it's what started it. That's what made Toy Story 1 just edge Toy Story 2, and up until the last minute I was still toying with which one should overtake the other. The fact that they're both 100%, I was too torn to know which one should go where, and that's why they both made it in.
I picked 2 because 1 just gets more love than 2 does.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So my 5 was the punt from earlier, and that is the Terminator.
Okay. Cool.
Such a great film. So you've now had a chance to finally rewatch this.
No, that's why it's so low, because I haven't had a chance to rewatch it.
Oh, man.
First of all, we needed to avoid the swear word, so 40 minutes and 12. I will keep that mentally stuck to my head. 2, let's put the image back up that we are streaming on Spotify. And 3, let's acknowledge that it still made it into the list. And I've caught 2 other films that I'd never seen before in life. So this is why Terminator didn't make the list.
It's the best Terminator movie. It just is. Yes, Terminator 2, it's so cool what they did with the liquid metal, but Terminator 2 is just an action-fueled carbon copy of Terminator 1, and Terminator 1, it's so much more ominous. It's so much more ominous. Like, the Terminator in that movie, because of the budget of the movie and because of the kind of more nitty-gritty, it's still sci-fi, obviously. We're talking about a time-traveling cyborg here, but it's not as out there as the liquid metal. It's as a time-traveling cyborg can be, it's more grounded. But it's also more like a horror movie, which is probably why I like it more. But yeah, the Terminators in all of the other movies are never like scary. In this one, the Terminator's actually...
Look, I think the element of scare left after T2. And as you said, it's a carbon copy. So
the element of scare left after T1.
But, it's nothing after that has done anything. You don't even feel tension in Rise of the Machine. It's just reality.
No, zero, because you know everything is going to be fine. In Terminator 1,
yeah.
Also in Terminator 1, it's the hardest time they actually have killing one of the Terminators. Crazy to think that the other ones are like liquid metal, so they should be harder to kill. Push him into the lava. Come together now. T1, this thing it's literally like a serial killer. It's like it doesn't let up. Yeah. It just keeps on coming, and it's like, dude, stop. It's so good. I also like the fact that, why am I blanking on Linda Hamilton? Jesus. I also like the fact that Linda Hamilton is less butch and military
green in this, because she's not meant to know what she knows.
That's what I liked about it. That's what made it feel more like a horror, And don't get me wrong, she whips ass in T2, which is awesome. But because she's such a badass, and because she's, should we say, military competent in that movie, by proxy, then the threat of the Terminator is less intense compared to this ever-looming, foreboding presence after what is basically a uni student.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, there's a lot of redeeming factors. Obviously, when you've got all the bombasticness of T2 and you go back, and you got to appreciate, this is not when you're watching a film, you're just someone who's expecting the same high level octane from that, and you go back, you're like, what is this? And I'm aware of that, but I'm still aware that there was a good narrative in the film. It just wasn't as manic, should I say. So that's why.
Really not as manic. And so over to my number 4, because you've done yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you haven't left this off. My number 4 from Japan, Grave of the Fireflies.
Coincidentally, my bro, my number 3. So we've rounded it back up. We're back to where we should be.
Oh, it's so sad. It's not saying anything new here, but goodness gracious me, this film.
I think I've said it before. I've done this film in both dubbed, and I kind of bounced out of interest to hear what the characters will sound like dubbed and non-dubbed. So I've heard both the voice actors, and both ways are heart-rendering. It is such a touching movie. It's just, it's a one-time watch. I don't know if it's in me to watch it a second time. I just don't know when.
You know what's coming, and you don't want to see it again.
Yeah. Nothing more than care is what I can do. It's survival, and it's care. And you know, it's sibling care to such a degree, and I think it hurts even more when you are the older brother. Like,
I believe it. I believe it. For you, I imagine this is even more brutal.
Yeah, I can't say I've been there because obviously I haven't been there, but I've had to step up for both siblings along the way, and you know, run that element, because there were times where, it's not in a bad way, don't start thinking you need to phone Childline for AJ's past, but where my parents weren't there and you have to step up to the plate and you become this person along the way. And it's not when you're ready for it. Don't get me wrong, I was of age, but I just wasn't ready for it, and it's there. And I look back at it and I see what I done and compare it to this cartoon, and I'm like, boy, I had it easy. I thought I had it tough. Boy, I had it easy, because you're talking during a war where everything is looming, trying to find a way where you don't have a home anymore. You're trying to find a home. Then we're trying to find a home. You're trying to find food. You're trying to find sanitation. You're trying to do what is just basic necessities of life. And when that's taken away from you and you're not ready for this, and you have to step up to the plate to ensure that your younger sibling can be something, like still survive, and try to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is out there. And they are so young that they are oblivious to everything that's out there and going left, right, and center, and you just try to rein them in to keep them safe. Ooh, what a film. What a film.
Yeah, listen, I think it's the greatest animated movie ever. But like, how can you say something's the greatest ever and you can only bring yourself to watch it once or twice? It's such a hard watch.
But here's the thing, bro. So where I can go through the rest of my list, and well, granted, Bubby was new, Mr. Jordan, and I've got seen it through. My top 3 are so impactful to me. I've only watched them once, but they mean a lot. Don't get me wrong, the other 2 I could watch again.
Well, Grave was your 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. But they are films that have only been seen once, but the impact that they have made, lasting. So,
well, yeah. I'm going to say this to you, AJ. So we've covered my 4, your 3. We're about to cover my 3.
Oh, yeah, your 3. Sorry, your 3. Yeah.
Just say Punt.
Of course, naturally. Just yeah, go for it. So
we're
talking
Punt.
12 Angry Men, right? So let's just get it
just
done.
Just say Punt.
There we go. It's done. Okay. So then over to my number 2, right?
Yep.
There was a part of me that nearly made this number 1, but it's a fact that any time that this film can be number 1, my number 1 is my number 1.
Right.
This film, however, is very close. And look, biopics is one thing for me. Courtroom drama is obviously another.
Yeah.
And fresh from India, 100% is Pink.
You've mentioned this to me before, haven't you?
It's on Netflix. I hope it's still on Netflix. I did. I think it was in Courtroom Drama. And shout out to Mixed Memorabilia. Mixed Memorabilia had also seen it and was very happy that I had seen this film. The intensity of this film. Now, you see, you can do courtroom dramas and it's about, you've seen a murder, can they get away with X, Y, Z, or someone's witnessed a murder, this, that, and the other. And it's just a matter of, you know the truth, but you can't. It's a matter of, will they prove the truth? How will they go about it? And what have you? Pink is very similar to my number 1, but it's different because you see the actions before and then there's a certain situation that's there. These are just 3 girls in India who are just out to have a good time, and they meet some guys along the way while they're out there for a party. They go back to the guys' houses. It doesn't go the way it should do. Abuse has taken place, but people are like, but these girls were drunk. They came back. They done this. They done that. And I believe, bit of a blank now, I believe they attacked one of the guys, and the guys are now trying to take these women to court. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think it actually blacks out and you just hear the noises, so you don't know what's happened in this film. And now they're trying to find lawyers, and people are like, well, you guys asked for this. You done this and you done that. And there are a lot of lawyers who don't take up this case, and then they find this gentleman who you see in the picture there who takes on the case, and he seems a bit out there, and he just sounds like this old man who seems a bit out of it, and you're not there, but you realize that this guy was one of the top lawyers back in the day, but he's currently out of the game, but he's there to take them on. And I believe he's their neighbor, and he's witnessed a few bits, and he takes on the case. And the way this man breaks down the situations of what would make these girls look like the most guilty, and this is a case to be thrown out and they'll be done for the assault. And it's the way he uses examples, gives you questions, and makes you stop and think and say, so what? Is a woman not allowed this? Is a woman not allowed to do this? So if I do this, does that mean that? And it takes it to the core. Absolutely brilliant movie that just makes you question certain actions of life, makes you second guess bits. Again, as I said, very similar to number one, where you could take something of a basic logic of take it here and that's the way, and convincing the jury, the judge. But what if? And if I said this, is that? And then how it builds along the way. Gorgeous movie. Loved it to pieces.
Need to get around to watching it, you know.
You have to see it. Honestly, it's not a film that I would just be like, yeah, I highly recommend this film. I'm just going to Google now to see if it's still on.
Where would it rank on your all-time list of international movies?
Well, it's just
think carefully here. We're talking about La Haine, Grave of the Fireflies, Taxi.
Well, if we look at it, Taxi is always going to have a soft spot, but Taxi is just dumb fun from my childhood.
We're talking La Haine and Grave of the Fireflies territory here.
Well, bro, you just saw what's 3 and 2.
Yeah.
You know? You've just seen what's 3 and 2. La Haine's good. It's insane. But there's something about this that just... I don't know. There's something about the delivery of this film that really sticks in for me.
Well, you got an international movie at your number 2. I've got an international movie at number 2, and it's the punt from earlier, arguably the greatest international movie of all time, and that is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Huh? What is wrong with you? What? Seriously? I feel like you're being funny putting Seven Samurai at 7. Like,
no, it was. Do you know what? Do you know what really happened?
Mad? Like,
you know what happened is what Grave of the Fireflies. I actually forgot Grave of the Fireflies when I was in there. I was like, no. So it was actually in 6 or 5 territory, and then I had to push stuff up. I was like, no, because Grave is.
Let me ask you: do you prefer Grave of the Fireflies to Seven Samurai? No right or wrong answer here. Just curious.
Here's the thing: Seven Samurai is enjoyable. I don't want to say it drags because I enjoyed it, but there were times I was like, okay, where are we? It's got a great story, great narrative, and what have you. Grave of the Fireflies touched me in a way that Seven Samurai can't, and that's what it is. So maybe it's an emotional touch, but this is it. It's the emotional touch and grab that comes with it. There is nothing to hate in Seven Samurai, but it's the emotional heartbeat that you get with it. You know, nostalgia will always put Toy Stories in there where they do for me, and there's something I've overly rewatched, hence why they're higher ranked. But I think Grave of the Fireflies just touches me in a way that Seven Samurai can't. It's a great movie, but the lasting impression, if I was to ever, like, you could quote something, I'll be like, for all that Seven Samurai is inspired, I will quote some of the stuff that it has inspired. There is only one Grave of the Fireflies. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no more, just one. God, imagine they did a live action version of that.
Well, don't. I think I would refuse to watch. It's not often I can say that about something. That I think I would refuse to watch.
And you get like a really like cerebral director to do it.
I don't know if it's in me. I actually don't know if it's in me.
Oh.
Sadly, I think Pink is
someone like a Frank Darabont who did The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption. Imagine him doing something like Grave of the Fireflies.
I don't know the director's name off the top of my head, but like take the director of something like Martyrs or something like that.
Oh no, Jesus no!
Yeah, just give you intensity to a degree that you just wouldn't want to go into. You know,
the Martyrs director would be good for especially the opening 20 minutes during the explosion.
Yeah.
Bah.
Or the closing 5, like
don't.
That would really hurt.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine a live action?
That where the cartoon, where the animation didn't, that would have me in tears.
Yeah,
tears.
Did the cartoon not get you?
Close, but it didn't. It hurt me. It hurt me. My heart dropped.
Ice in your veins, you do.
My heart dropped, but it didn't create tears. That's the difference.
Oh,
very close.
You got ice. Anyway, Kurosawa Seven Samurai. I think it's safe to say Kurosawa's made the 2 most influential movies of all time between this and Rashomon, right?
I need to see. Yeah.
I can't think of two movies which have been copied, pasted more than those two in various iterations, reimagined, recalculated, rebranded. It's all the same thing. And yeah, Seven Samurai. I mean, you even see it in episodes of The Mandalorian now. Season 1, when they're defending the village from those ATSTs. That's basically Seven Samurai in 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Let's go really weird here. Tremors. It is Seven Samurai. You can't disagree. The invading force is the worms. The villagers are just the townspeople. Dog soldiers. I'm going weird here to make a point, but dog soldiers, a group of military dudes who get surrounded in a house by werewolves and have to save the town/house from the invading force. It's Seven Samurai. Like,
and I don't even like people
go weirder, bring it.
Well, it's not weird in the sense, but you'd be like, what? But it is Power Rangers. Power Rangers is Seven Samurai. Straight up.
Sure, I'll give you that.
With 5 teenagers of attitude. You've literally given 5 randomers the power to come in and defend the town. It's exactly that.
So the Power Rangers were 6.
Eventually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll roll with that. The Magnificent 6. Sure. Like, you can, again, a bit of a reach, but I see where you're going. And you can make an argument to make it stick. Absolutely. Pretty much everything at some point is Seven Samurai. You could argue even Jaws is Seven Samurai. The 3 men defending their boat from the shark. Like,
yeah. That I would say is more of a reach than Power Rangers, but I would go with it.
Wow, would you really, sir?
Listen, hold on.
Because it's floating.
Right? There we go. And, look, we're running time. But think of it. There's an invading force, an Angel Grove. We then get this force to come in, defend. There we go. Like, I don't need to say more.
Fair enough. Actually, oh, damn it. 57 minutes, AJ. Yeah, look, everything is Seven Samurai. And if you haven't seen it, please do not be put off by the fact that it's Japanese. And please, God, do not be put off by the fact that it's black and white. It hasn't aged. It's timeless, this film.
Yeah.
It's superb. Your number 1, AJ. What could it be?
Surprise, surprise. What's better than 7? 12. Yes, 12 Angry Men. It's predictable as hell, but it is what it is. I just love it. Just love it. The concept of a courtroom that just shot in one room, one situation, guilty or not guilty. Seems cut and shut. Guilty. Let's go for it. One man stands defiant against the rest, stands against sheep mentality, and goes, well, hold on, this is someone's life they're playing it with here. Let's just ask a few questions. And with that, the room starts to sway. Power. Just absolute power in one film that just keeps you intrigued. I was just sitting there the whole time, just like, okay, this is cool. This is different. This is good. Yeah.
It was my number 3. It's superb. Henry Fonda is incredible in this film. The attention to detail, the way that they make all the stories seem completely believable, the way he one at a time shows them that they're not voting based on fact, but they're voting based on very, very, very ingrained prejudice without even being aware of it. It's above everything. It's a story of self-realization. It's incredible, this film.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I just can't.
12 Angry Men in your top 10 films of all time.
Hell yeah!
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's not even a question. It's not
Top
even a question.
5?
The impact that it made. I want to say yes. And
wow.
I think intuitively I would, because I think this is going to sound so ridiculous. but it's going to sound real at the same time. I feel like it's my cultured answer. If anyone says to you, "What's your favorite film?" It feels like a cultured answer. 12 Angry Men. Like, yeah, you know, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 is amazing, but have you seen
Back to
12
the
Angry
Future.
Men? Like, do you know what I mean? It just feels more cultured to say that. But it's without joking, it also has the quality to be in the top 5. It just does.
Of course it does.
It has such an impact that when you use that, when you watch something and it gives you a vibe, yeah, that's what it's done. So I'm not opposed.
And I'm no better than you, my friend. I'm every bit as predictable. What's my number 1?
You're Singing in the Rain.
Of course I am. Singing in the Rain is my number 1. The all-time greatest musical ever made. The performances that capture generation upon generation. The movie you can show to people who bash, laugh at, and slam musicals and convert them to the cause. It is impossible to hate this film. It is so beautiful and captivating. And at the heart of all the singing and the dancing, which is God level, it's needle mover level, it is island of relevancy level. At the center of all that is a historically accurate story of how Hollywood changed from being silent cinema to being the talkies, to being moving motion pictures with sound, and the difficulties that all the studios went through to keep their big stars as big stars and retire the ones that couldn't step up. It's incredible. If you love cinema, this movie is literally a time capsule and also a love letter to Hollywood. It's the greatest of great golden age movies, and this is most definitely in my top 10 of all time.
Do you know what? The impact Singing in the Rain gave, I could agree with that. It just... as you said, it's the historical accuracy. And do you know what? The more you say it, I'm thinking, oh God, maybe I could have put it a bit higher. But
yes, you should have.
From beginning to end, the pleasure I had with that film is just unmatched. It just delivers greatness in honesty. It just does.
And it one-ups itself so effectively. It's like, here's a great dance number with Donald O'Connor. Make them laugh, make them laugh. I'm going to run up the wall and run around in circles. And then we're going to do a big exposition piece on how we're going to get this girl to actually sing for the other girl who used to be a big star and show how they're struggling. And then we're going to do this big, orgasmically good set piece with Gene Kelly going, that's the Broadway show, painting a chronological history of his own experience in cinema. And then we're going to have a simple little character piece. Good morning. Yeah, where they're going to show how they're going to mime on stage. And then it ends with them having their names under the big lights. It's like, it's so good.
Yeah. All kinds were awesome, man. I really cannot hate on that film. Like it just gives everything. It really does. It really does.
Ask people legitimately. Oh, I don't like musicals. Have you seen Singing in the Rain? No. Well, that's why you don't like musicals.
It's such a different tone, and one of the things that, again, call me whichever way you want on this, ignorant or what have you, but you hear with some of these older films, you're like, something yesteryear, it wasn't as great as it could be. Well, it was good for its time or what have you. And I remember the Full Monty when they talk about, running up the wall and then keep trying it. And I'm like, what is this moment they're on about?
Yeah. But then when you
see the running up the wall, you're like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, what a moment. What a moment in history.
Ain't no wire work there. That's just Donald O'Connor being Donald O'Connor.
Yeah. That was all kinds of nuts, man. All kinds. Okay. It's Rushmore time, I believe.
Well, we've got 3 very clear entries, and then we've got to fight for a spot.
Yeah, here we go.
It's clearly Singing in the Rain, 12 Angry Men, and 7 Samurai, yes?
Yeah.
Those have to go in. So Singing in the Rain.
Oh, but then I suppose the other one is Toy Story 2.
Overgrave of the Fireflies.
Shoot.
over the Terminator? Like, where are we going? This is what I'm saying.
There was a free Punt, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yep. I'll say this: eliminate Grave of the Fireflies, because we've put it on a Rushmore once where we were both convinced that it was well. We not only put it on thinking it's going to do well, we thought amongst this company it should destroy the competition, and it came last. People haven't seen this film, so there's no point putting it on a popularist poll.
I mean, there's a part of me that says it should be the Terminator.
I'm leaning that way too.
I feel it should be. Yeah, I feel
it's the Terminator or Toy Story 2. Terminator or Toy Story 2. Where are we going? How are we doing it? Do we make an argument to say there should be an animation in there when we're talking about movies rated 100%, given that we each brought 3 animated movies into our top 10s?
Here's the funny
You had Toy Story 1 and 2 and Grave. I had Pinocchio, Toy Story 2 and Grave.
Here's the thing, which makes Toy Story 2 the commonality, isn't it? Here's the thing. How often can Toy Story 1 or 2 or 3 make it into a Rushmore? How often is the Terminator likely to make it into a Rushmore? I feel that this is one of the rarer times that
Terminator should go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of my logic to it, as much as I really thought a Toy Story should make it in, especially in animation. But I feel like Terminator is just not... It doesn't get the praise that it does enough of the time. So I'd be intrigued to see what it does, especially because, again, T2 takes all the love. Let's give it its flowers for once and let's see what it does.
Oh, and we've thrown it to the wolves here, literally. You've seen the company it's in.
I am very aware. I'm very aware.
Lock it in.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official Movie Mount Rushmore of movies with a 100% rating, critic rating, on Rotten Tomatoes, in no particular order, is
The Terminator.
Our second entry is
Seven Samurai.
Our third entry is
12 Angry Men.
Was that second or third I just did?
Yeah, that was third. Final entry.
Our final entry into the Movie Mount Rushmore of movies with a 100% rating, critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes is
Singin' in the Rain. What a list.
What a list.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting
12
one.
Angry Men's going to win, calling it now.
I mean, I'm not opposed. But yeah, well, you never know. Terminator might be the creeper. Terminator could be the creeper.
It's going to go... It's the second and Terminator's coming last and 12 Angry Men is winning. What finishes second versus third? That's going to be the hard part.
I'm interested because Terminator is also a popularist view. Some of these other films, like I was late to the party on 12 Angry Men. Like you'd be surprised where everyone
loves that film.
Huh?
The internet loves that movie.
Oh, they should, but hey, we digress. Okay, guys, so you've heard it before from us. Head on over to @MovieMT_Rushmore, but more importantly, @Movie Polls for you, and that's where you'll get to cast your vote. There is only one vote because it's a retweet. Yeah, X still has the Twitter rules, so that's the way it works. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend, and let them know that if you don't want to watch these two guys, listen to them on Spotify. There you are. They're on Spotify and all the other podcast platforms. We are absolutely everywhere, and we thank you. And we're growing. The new channel's catching up to the old channel, baby. Yeah, 1K on the road. Do you know, by the time you're watching this, it may well be there. Who knows? That's the one.
Boom!
That's the one.
So that is it for another installment of Movie Mount Rushmore. Remember, you can catch us every single Tuesday right here on the Silver Screen Dudes. Tell a friend to tell a friend, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There should be another video down here somewhere for you guys to click on. So have a look at that. And we will see you guys next Tuesday right here on the Silver Screen Dudes. See ya.
See ya.